Welcome to this week's episode of Listen to Your Coaches. I'm your coach, Mike Wilkins, here with Coach Will Morrill, and behind the scenes at the producer desk, a young Max Gerald. This week, we're talking UFC 317, a little bit about high. And anything that follows. Let's get into it. UFC 317, Will, take us to the top. We had Ilia Topuria versus Charles Do Bronx Oliviera.
Oh, man.
What'd you think of the fight?
I thought the fight was wild, but I think we should back up for a second. I think that not just this fight, but this card was the first one I was like legitimately excited about, like ahead of time in quite some time, right? Like this is a very legitimate like two massive stars on top of a full awesome card. So I was really fired up for it. And yeah, I thought the fight went kind of exactly how I imagined it would, right? Oliveira trying to impose his grappling and, Topuria outstriking him.
I think it pretty much nails it. I think we all kind of predicted yeah, because we brought up, about how Oliveira quite frequently gets rocked or dropped in the first and stuff. And it's you can't do that with Ilia. Right. But I think we all just had that hope.
Yeah, it's what makes Oliveira exciting is that he's super, super aggressive with his offense. The problem is when you are super aggressive with your offense like that, sometimes you're going to get hit. And especially when in close range, he does a lot of reaching for collar ties, and he doesn't always get a collar tie and pull his head in. You know what I mean? So if you're reaching for collar ties, you can still get hit in those moments.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just not really what you can do with Topuria. So yeah, kind of went down exactly how I imagined it would. And
so some things that I was impressed with though in this fight was when Charles Oliveira got that front double under position, and Topuria went double overs, being the shorter fighter, still being able to manage that double over position. Although I would have assumed he had an advantage in that style of a clinch and taking the top position from it. We made a note at that quick Toriando pass as soon as he stood up in the guard. Boom. That quick right hand to the hip, left hand to the knee, back step, fast Toriando pass in the side control.
Super impressive.
Yeah, super impressive. And then just where we've seen him shine is just in the pot. It's just a different level in the pocket.
Right. Yeah. He's just unbelievably powerful, which this kind of brings me to my next point. One of the things that I thought may have posed a problem for him is his physical size, right? He's not that big.
And he looked not that big.
That's what I was going to say. I think you and I are the only ones saying this because everything I see is always oh, Ilia's a tank. And they'll show videos of him lifting weights or hitting pads or doing whatever. Which also, by the way, his pads looks terrible on pads, right? He's
really?
Oh, dude, he's the epitome of his hands move an inch and a half and his pad holder's doing this and then just goes over his head. I've never seen him look super awesome. I shouldn't say never, but he generally looks not that good on pads.
And then he looks amazing.
Yeah, he looks absolutely the best. But everyone's oh yeah, he's so big. And the whole time I've been he looks so small to me.
Yeah, I thought he looked small.
But the one thing that I can tell you is I guarantee you that dude is stupid strong. And as you and I both know, when you take someone who's stupid strong and you have short lever arms, right, little stumpy arms and legs, dude, that guy I bet is a nightmare to clinch with.
His legs did look thick though.
Yeah, I mean he definitely got a little thicker, but his frame is small and there's a limited amount of how thick he can get. I think I saw something that he was 174 or something.
Yeah,
this fight. And it's dude, if you're gonna go up against Islam, you're gonna have to legitimately get up. He was talking about oh yeah, 180, 190. I'm one, I don't believe you, and two, you would actually have to get that big to fight Islam. But yeah, that to me was a big thing. Is I thought that maybe Charles's size would be an issue, but dude, Topuria is just so good at covering space and being in when he needs to be in, and at least in the grappling exchanges, it did not seem to be an issue for him at all. You all right?
Yeah, you hearing that too?
What is it?
I think it's the air conditioner.
It's not the air conditioner.
Shut the air conditioner off. Just press the air conditioner button.
It might be my computer.
I was going to say, it sounds like a computer fan.
Oh, that is a computer fan. Guys, the podcast we're in.
It won't pick that up. You guys are good.
That's it. We'll just see you guys next week.
The editing.
We got this one in, though. So another thing that I saw was that Ilia had predicted that he would finish this fight between minute 2 and minute 3, and his rationale. Did you see that?
No.
He had predicted that. His rationale on it was he's not going to have to go find him. He was like, He was like, I'm not going to have to find him. He's going to come to me. Like, we're going to meet.
I saw that. So, or at least, the strategy talk, he was talking about how with Max and with Volk, he was like, I'm going to have to like corral them into a corner, get them stuck there before I can like actually start throwing. And he was like, yeah, like Charles is going to walk towards me. I was like, dude, that's
He's like, I'm not going to have to go find him.
Basic stuff, but that's 100% accurate,
dude.
So yeah, man. Size wise at 55, I don't think he has anything to worry about.
What matchups are you looking forward to for him in the lightweight division?
In the lightweight division, so there's a couple things that I think are interesting. I mean, dude, there's a lot of things that are interesting here. Can you pull up the rankings?
I mean, I like him and Armin, Patty. I'm interested in because they're both interested in it. And when you have two fighters interested in each other,
run it.
Yeah, Armin would be cool for me.
Pretty much
even
all of
Gaethje.
All of these are cool for different reasons. Okay, so Armin's interesting because it's like, does a large, legitimately like thick 55er give him any issues? Who has that kind of grappling? I would guess no, but like, let's find out. Gaethje's interesting because Gaethje will walk forward, and Gaethje also I think hits harder than most of these guys, and we haven't really seen him deal with that like as of late. You know what I mean? Like getting stung up. He did in that the Jai Herbert fight or whatever. It was a while back.
I think that was his debut.
Wasn't that at 55 as well?
That was at 55. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his first fight at 55, but it wasn't his debut.
It wasn't his debut.
No, I think it was like his third or fourth fight.
So he did like 2 fights at 45, then went up to 55 for 1 fight, and then came back down.
Yeah, he was the one at 45 or the one at 55. I think he was initially supposed to fight someone like a week or two before, and then it ended up falling apart. And so like 2 weeks later, he was like, I'll just fight this guy at 55.
Interesting. But if we keep looking at the list here, obviously Holloway and Poirier, that's not going to matter. Dan Hooker, that's interesting just because it's Dan Hooker. Gamrot, same thing as Tsarukian. Patty, one of the interesting things about that is marketing wise, dude, that's the king of Europe. You know what I mean? Like whoever wins that's big star power. And then after that, no one really has like a claim.
So what are they going to do with rankings this week? Whenever they have, so right now we're looking at the rankings board, and it's Islam as the champ. Scroll up real quick. I want to see 45s. Who do they have at 45s? Okay, they have Ilia Topuria third at 145, which is comical. Why would he not be first?
Yeah,
right. Like he's third. That's crazy to me. He has a win over the champ and one, so I understand that the champ has to be in the champ spot, but shouldn't he by default be one?
Yeah, dude. Like, especially over Max Holloway.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Who he has a very recent head-to-head win against. Like that's crazy.
Did you guys ever hear anything about? They were talking about updating the rankings.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about that, Max? Do you know anything about that?
I'm hearing stuff about like him trying to work out deals with Meta, but like the other day I saw that a deal with Meta was not going well. But that's as far as I know. They're just trying to get AI to do it. I don't really know how that's gonna work though, because
well, also like what do they need to like make a deal with another company for? You know what I mean? Like,
well, they want that company to run the AI.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like they could just hire their own internal people to do it for like a fraction of the cost.
Well, he's on the board of Meta now, so
Dana is.
Yeah, he's on the board of Meta.
Did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's. Can you spell conflict of interest?
That's hilarious. All right.
Dana should just do the rankings himself.
Dude, for real, he's complained about the rankings before.
Honestly, he's probably would be better than these guys.
I don't think so.
Do you want rankings based on merit, or do you want ranking? It's like the same thing with the pound.
I want rankings based on merit.
I agree, but I don't think Dana's going to do that.
Yeah, I think Dana's the.
I don't think they're doing it with Ilia at number 3.
They certainly are not doing it,
right? Like, I mean, it's like, yeah, why are you third? Oh, because you've never lost, and you beat number 1, and you beat the champ. So
and number
that
2 is
equals
coming
3.
off a loss.
Yeah, and number 2 lost to a guy who you beat, which we use common opponent all the time, right? Like, it's like these rankings are hilarious.
Yeah, they make no sense.
So here goes what I was getting at with it. Let's scroll back down to the lightweight rankings. So I guess we can assume that next week Ilia will move to the champ spot. So where are they going to put Islam? You think they're going to put him at number 3? Behind a bunch of dudes he already beat? You know what I mean? That would make
That's
sense, right?
We should remember that and look where this is next week.
Well, I mean, tomorrow we can look tomorrow. Well, to talk about it next week, but tomorrow is Tuesday. They update.
Right. That is hilarious. And I wonder what they're going to do with it.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to the co-main event, which was
I think
super
so.
sick? Might as well keep those rankings readily available.
Yeah, dude. So
One more thing about the Topuria. Scroll up.
Oh, we should talk.
The fight did go to the ground, right?
Yeah.
With zero. They're calling that with. Okay, the fight went to the ground with 0 takedowns, and I know it wasn't the knockdown that took him to the ground because I know they're calling the knockout the knockdown. But
This is actually
Charles is 0 for 2 and Ilia's 0 for 0, but yet we watched them on the ground. How'd they get there?
Are they going to say that Charles like pulled guard because is that what like their rationale is, do you think?
Oh,
Because he got that like rear body lock and
then like
started
slid
to,
and dropped. Maybe.
But, like I look at that as a failed takedown attempt.
Yeah, I was looking at it more as like Ilia's counter takedown.
Right.
But like maybe, okay.
I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I could be
here.
pushed in that direction. Okay. It's not as egregious as I thought. I thought it was just like hilarious that they're not giving Ilia the takedown, but I could see like in my mind's eye how that could be maybe deemed a guard pull.
Yeah. I mean, again, I can understand the argument for it, but I defer to your opinion on that.
I would hate for it to be like, oh, you have to offensively
Initiate
in order for you to get the takedown.
Right, so it's like if someone gets a single and then you get a what's the move I like to do? Is it a reversal or what's it called? Switch? What's it called?
A switch?
You
Wait.
know when someone's in on a single and you get a single and you like sit down.
Yeah, it's like a switch. Yes.
Okay. So
I mean,
would that count as a takedown?
I mean, in every yeah, yeah,
In all the real
in
combat
wrestling, and wrestling, yeah.
Dude, the last thing I want to talk about with this is, do you think it's likely? I shouldn't say do you think it's likely. Do you think it's a possibility that they let Ilia go directly to Islam if he beats JDM?
They should.
It'd be interesting, right?
They should.
Yeah.
What weight should they do that at? 55?
I mean, I think that would be more interesting to see Islam come back down, but I don't think that's even like in the talks at all. I think they're talking about Topuria going up to 70.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be super crazy.
So you have a double champ. In that scenario, you would have a double champ in Topuria versus a double champ in Islam.
Right.
Fighting for somebody to
Potentially the
potentially
first.
become the triple champ or not.
Yeah. Which also, did you see he's the first undefeated double champ?
No, I didn't see that. That does make sense. Let's run
Yeah.
through the double champs real quick. Amanda Nunes. Was there any other women who did it, right? No. Just Amanda Nunes.
Correct.
Right?
Jones,
Then we got John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Randy Couture,
BJ,
BJ, Connor, Henry Cejudo, and Ilia.
There's two more.
Wait, there's been 10?
Yeah, I think he was the
GSP.
10th. GSP, yep. And then we're missing one.
Is it like Vitor Belfort or some shit like that?
Dude, that would be hilarious.
Is it like...
Technically... Or no, he wasn't. No.
Oh, is this the list right here?
Who do we miss?
Pereira.
Yeah. That's a pretty elite list right there. Oh, dude, I don't think we said Randy.
Oh, we said Randy.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah, I said Randy like pretty early on.
Gotcha.
Wait, is that all 10 on that list right there? No, that's 9 without Ilia.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, like, what do you think about that the Islam fight? Like, do you think it's a possibility? Because, like, personally,
They
I
probably
think
should do it while
That's
the
what I'm
iron's hot
saying.
before someone stumbles.
that's what I'm saying, dude.
Someone gets injured or
Let's get into this. The UFC as a whole, right? Like, they've been putting out straight garbage, right? Like, everyone knows that. But this card I was excited about, and I think they ran it the right way. I was gonna like kind of wait on this, but like some of the structure that I like, and tell me if I'm just like being nostalgic here, or if cards used to do this more often. But so they had Joshua Van fight Brandon Royval for the next title shot, and then immediately after they have the title shot. And I swear they used to do that more.
they may have, but let's save that.
Okay.
If in your scenario, if Ilia max weigh-in, if Ilia goes to 170 to go triple champ, and this is assuming Islam is the 170 champ, so then Ilia vacates 155.
If Dana
Right, because that's the
continues to
that's the new
enforce
thing,
his-
right? That's the new thing, right? Ilia vacated 45 to go 55, and Islam vacated 55 to go 70. So, would he vacate 55?
And then that gives him the opportunity to come down and be a 2-time lightweight champ.
And I guess that Islam would have to vacate 170 to come down then. I don't know.
Hey, dude, here's the thing. Those are all rules that Dana made up and is going to enforce them in a way that he feels he should for promotional purposes. So, like, I don't think those matter. But that is a good point that it's very inconsistent.
I think, here goes what you do. This is what I would love to see happen. So, assuming Islam beats JDM. All right, this just popped in my head right now. Okay, this has no prior thought, so there may be several holes in it. Assuming Islam beats JDM, becomes the 170 champ, you go Ilia versus Islam for the inaugural 165 pound super lightweight title, right? Islam, since he's vacating the welterweight belt because they're making everybody vacate these belts, now you can do away with welterweight being 170 and you can move it to 175.
Oh, dude. And then
because there's a vacant belt anyhow, so it doesn't matter. You wash it, and then welterweight just becomes 175. And now you have 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and then
slap
205.
In a cruiserweight.
Well, no, there's no need for a cruiserweight yet.
That's a good point. They all suck.
Yeah. Then you got 205 heavyweight, right? So you go every 10 pounds, and then once you get to the top, you got your 20-pound jump and your big heavyweight jump.
Bro, when you were first saying this, I was about to be like, no, that's dumb. But now I'm thinking
it might
about
be
it.
dumb. It might be.
No.
This is just off the cuff.
No, I love it.
So
I'm convinced.
what I like about that is that takes you from 8 champs to 9 champs.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it makes it easier to headline pay-per-views because every pay-per-view is headlined by a title fight, right? And sometimes it's like a struggle. And it's like, what do? We need, Conor McGregor, the Conor McGregor Michael Chandler event is off. Oh, we need a champ to go in and save the card. Like, champs shouldn't be going in and saving cards.
And dude, if you think about it, that's the UFC's issue right now, star power, right? Like, who are the biggest UFC stars at the moment, right? Like, it's Ilia.
Yeah.
And he's like very legit and everything. It's Pereira. He's not currently a champ, and he's on the latter end of his career, obviously. It's O'Malley, who's now just lost 2 in a row. Like, they don't have a lot of stars, you know what I mean? But think about where there's a big
conglomerate is between 50. Where do we say it's like 50? Like right now, we're like 170 is the best division right now, right?
Why not create multiple stars?
Right there, you got 170 that you think's the best of it, that we think's the best division right now, dude. But pull up the 170 rankings. Weren't we talking like the top, like whole 15? We were like, they're so good.
Yeah.
But there was like a distinct like split, like at like Colby Covington at like 8. So we like had like the top 8, right? Where was our split?
It was exactly
after Morales. It was after Morales. Oh, they got double 7s in there. Look at that. Buckley and Morales tied at 7th.
Huh.
That's weird. Do you think that's a typo?
I don't.
Or do you think that's intentional?
Wait a minute.
There's no doubles.
How do they not have?
I've seen them have ties before, but it's got to be a typo because there's no 8.
That's what I was about to say.
That makes sense, though. No, it would make sense for there to be double 7 and then no 8. You would go 7, 7, 9.
Oh, just so you don't have too many guys now. So it's still a top 15.
Well, yeah, that's just generally how it works, right? Like if 2 people are tied for first, then no one's in second because it's one of them would be the default second. Gotcha. So you go straight to third.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you like for some reason would need to give out 2 gold medals, you wouldn't then give out a silver. It would then be the next would be bronze.
Well, I'm glad you run our competitions because I would have done it wrong.
So yeah, we're saying there's a split right there. Boom. Okay, what do you got? You dude. Half of those mugs probably go up to 75. I know Sean Brady probably goes 65. Bilal maybe not. I mean, some of them are going 65.
Dude, I think that solves a lot of their problems. Because think about it. First off, that's a big announcement for the UFC, right? It's just a big structural thing that they could be like, hey,
and it's around a historic fight.
Boom, exactly. And
2 double champs go for the inaugural super lightweight championship.
Exactly.
Call me.
Because then think about it too. JDM,
I can help you figure this out.
They might still have to fight, but if they didn't, or if JDM went up and won, then you still get that market in Australia, which I think they like.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a brilliant idea.
Do you think it's... I was thinking about this earlier. I really like that idea, but that's if Islam wins, right? If Islam beats JDM. Do you agree with me that it's kind of more interesting if JDM wins and then you have... If Ilia wants to move up and be triple champ, I think Ilia and JDM is cooler than Ilia and Islam.
No, in terms of I don't think so at all.
Now, in terms of a fight, maybe not, but... If, say Islam wins, he moves up and beats Islam, the asterisk that people are going to put on it is, yeah, but Islam's a 55er, so it's just 2 55ers fighting for the 170
70
belt.
champ, though.
That
So here goes
stylistically,
the reason. If you scroll up to the rankings up at 125, you'll see that the pound for pound is Islam. So then you would have Ilia versus Islam, which, like, remember when Volk and Islam fought and it was like, oh, this is a pound for pound 1 and 2, and like that was important. So imagine what you could be saying. So you're telling me Islam's number 1, right? And Merab's number 2. After last night, and Ilia's number 3. After last night, Ilia could move to number 2. So now you're looking at number 1 and number 2, both in the world that we're speaking of, both double champs going head to head.
Dude, that's
right?
so sick.
Have we ever had a number 1 versus 2 fight before? Was John Jones and Daniel Cormier 1 and 2 pound for pound when they fought at any point in time? I think possibly.
That would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that, but like that would be an area where I could be like, oh yeah, there goes a number 1 and 2 pound for pound fight.
Those are the only ones that I can imagine. GSP and BJ maybe, or no?
No.
Yeah.
There's no way at that point in time. But they probably weren't even doing pound for pound rankings, but there's no way that like GSP and BJ too.
I don't think it's possible. I was just trying to think of 2 stars.
I mean, I guess. Okay, yeah. Irregardless. Dude, that's the best word ever.
I think that's a super solid plan. With that said, just in terms of an actual fight, I think Ilia JDM is very fun. Like, they're gonna pocket box, dude. It's gonna be crazy.
All right, cool.
But no, obviously for star power,
I don't think anything can touch an Ilia versus Islam.
Oh, not even close. I was just trying to say I think it's a cool fight.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they would not even entertain Ilia moving up to 70 unless it was Islam. It's like what's the point?
Right.
Like, no, stay down there at 55. We got 6 dudes for you to fight.
Especially for the UFC, if they're trying to protect their star power.
They might not allow that.
Right. They're like, why would we have him go up and fight?
And potentially lose.
Right.
And then lose that star power. And then what? Go back down and like prance around at 155.
Because also think about this too. Okay, this is actually super interesting. Who are the stars by region, right? Because, okay, Brazil, they have Pereira, and they're always going to have somewhat good guys.
Pantoja.
Pantoja. I didn't even think about that. Show some respect. Obviously, like the New Zealand, Australia area has some, hitters right now. Especially, JDM being champ, Volk being champ. Europe has now Topuria, and I would put Patty as like a high level star, as well as Aspinall. Is it only America right now that's lacking in Asia? Asia seriously lacking, but
well, America, we're always going to lack in like a regional star power. I think because we care less than other people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we're more so open to like who's your favorite fighter?
Anderson Silva.
Who's my favorite fighter?
Frank Yeager.
Yeah.
GSP.
But GSP, right? Yeah. Who's your favorite fighter?
Piotr Jan.
Right? Not one of us named an American.
Yeah.
I went a Canadian, you went with a Brazilian, and you went with Russian.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
That. Yeah.
If you ask any kid in Brazil, probably like over 95%, it's going to be a Brazilian fighter.
Yeah.
If you ask any Russian kid, like 99%, it's going to be a Russian fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is interesting.
Okay,
yeah. So they can get a draw here, even with a foreign.
A foreigner's a draw here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're very like, I can't. Some major. I think it was like more of a major like podcast personality, sports MMA guy said like that's one of the things that's actually like kind of like freeing about being an American fan is that you can more so align with what you like in the sport, and you don't feel like you have to have like a regional allegiance,
right? Especially if you have like a really small country, there's like one dude who's good. Like, imagine you're a Czech dude, you don't like Jiri.
Let's not get that wrong though. Like, here's the thing: like any Pittsburgh fighter fighting is automatically getting rooted for immediately, like over anybody. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But like, you know what I mean? I don't know. You get it.
No, that was a really good point. Actually, I never thought about that, dude. That kind of really sucks for Asia and Africa right now because they don't have. Or sorry,
DDP.
Like, I meant the northern half of it, I guess, but because other than DDP, who else do they have?
Kamaru Usman. Francis Ngannou is about to come back.
Dude, let's talk about that. They should 100% sign him. That's what makes the most sense.
But they won't because they hate him.
I know.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Dana, he's fucking things up.
All right, let's go 125's Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai France in a dominating performance by Pantoja, just showing the next level of grappling. Max, why don't you tell people what you said before this fight started and then what happened in the first 18 seconds?
Yeah, I was watching with some friends, and I said that, I was like, watch this guy. He starts off every fight the same. He's going to come out. He's going to touch gloves. There's going to be like 3 to 5 seconds of playing around, and then he's just going to sprint at you, and he's going to end up on your back.
Yep.
That's how it looks.
And that's how it went down. And within the first 35 seconds, he had the back secured, body triangle in. Just a lot of really great grappling exchanges from Pantoja throughout the 2.5 rounds that they fought. At no point in time did I think this was going to go any other way once the fight did start. I mean, this was a great technical grappling performance that a lot of fighters could go learn from.
Yeah. So I, disagreed with you. I could have seen it going, another direction. Because obviously.
At what point in time?
Oh, before the fight started.
Well, that's what I said, after the fight started.
Right. Okay.
So then
I'm not disagreeing with you. But, Kai obviously can hit hard. And Pantoja just runs forward, right? And he is hittable. And eventually, his chin's going to run out.
Yeah, but after the fight started, once he got him down and body tried, it's like, all right, this is how it's going to go.
For sure. But, dude, Pantoja is so crazy to me because, we were talking about this earlier. He's, older, especially for a flyweight.
How old is he?
35, right? Yeah. But, and, you wouldn't imagine that style surviving that kind of age, but dude, he just keeps looking better and better. He just runs forward and just crushes dudes.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude.
Unbelievable. You know what his nickname is?
No.
The Cannibal.
Oh, I did know that. I did know that.
It's so fitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, so what did you see technically grappling wise that stood out to you?
I mean, he's just technically proficient, clean all the way around. He's got no holes in his grappling. There was never, he's not being challenged much in the grappling department by Kai France. But everything was just clean, closed, connected, and just perfect. There were no mistakes made in this bout.
You were pointing out that he's doing a really good job of cinching his elbows in.
From body lock position, rear body lock position, or off to the side body lock position. A lot of people, when you're locked around there, you'll see some people defensively start to put their hip forward and separate the hands. Mm-hmm. You'll see people sometimes kind of gather an overhook and go Kimura. If you think back to some Diaz fights, mm-hmm. right? That can help separate the hands, or just threaten a throw, mm-hmm. Which could also help separate the hands and just create some space between you and your opponent. Perhaps allow you to reach over and turn in and get to a chest-to-chest position
or something.
He uses, he didn't use a gable grip. He used a clamp grip. Yeah, an S grip. And that allowed him to really pinch his elbows into each other. Kind of I'm sure a lot of you, if you're listening only and not watching video, I'm sure a lot of you probably train, but when you're setting up a darce from front headlock, how you kind of pinch your elbows in together to kind of knock them down to the shoulder before you shoot the darce in. He does that around the waist on the body lock, and that eliminates a lot of potential space that the defender's going to be able to utilize, and it really latches you to the hips and gives you control over the hips in a multitude of directions. So now you're threatening trips forward, threatening bringing them backwards with just a small foot block. You're also still in a position where you can drive in, bring your hips to the party, and lift. Right. You know what I mean? If they start to post down, you can jump the back. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Of standing rear body lock grip.
Yeah.
And it allows you to keep your head safe because you can place your head directly in the center of the back if you're doing that because you're slightly off to the side.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're not going to catch those errant elbows. Yeah.
Dude, that's a really good point. And that's a position he gets to all the time. Like Max said, he just runs to it.
I feel like I know that position, and I do. I mean, I just explained it pretty well.
I would say so.
But I feel like watching him do it is I was oh, I get it, right? I don't think I've ever done that. You know what I mean? But watching him do it, I'm oh, okay, I see what he's doing here.
Right.
And then a lot of the pros to doing it like that, immediately stood out.
Right. Yeah. The other thing I was impressed with was like, even when they got to the ground, every time someone gets to the ground.
Oh, he had great crab ride.
Well, that's what I was going to say is DC is always talking about like, get height. And you see Kai Kara-France starting to like work his way up. And dude, he just crab ride and slide those feet out. Like,
no, great crab ride. You know what?
Actually, real quick, can you describe what a crab ride is to someone?
So imagine that we're seated. We're both sitting. Okay, I'm sitting behind you. We're both sitting on the ground, and you're sitting like in between my legs. If you're watching this podcast, you know what back control is.
Yeah.
So instead of putting my hooks in back control, my legs are outside, but kind of like butterfly stretch style, and then my feet hook inside your calves. All right, that's a crab ride. For example, if I'm in that position, so I'm the guy with the back on the crab, I think one of the reasons we call it a crab ride is because both of us, if we put our hands down behind us, are in a crab walk position.
Oh yeah.
I think that's why it's called a crab ride. Like, think about it, both of us.
Yeah.
Right there. If I have you guys know what a crab ride is. Yeah. So if we're in a crab ride and you quit fighting my hands and I let go of the seatbelt and we both put our hands down, what are we doing?
We're back to elementary school crab soccer, brother.
Yeah, we're doing crab walks. So essentially that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so that allows you
crab
to
rides
someone's...
typically, and now crab rides are typically valuable when the person in the rear doesn't have higher hips. So my hips would be equal to or lower than you. If my hips were higher, then it would behoove me to just throw my hooks in. But I likely can't just throw them in because the height of our hips in relationship to each other.
Right. Great explanation there.
So you'll use the crab to like change the levels of the hips through like tilting from one side to the other. Therefore, you're changing whose hip has, more height or the relation of the hip to the back. And then you can think about if you're giving someone a piggyback ride, right? Where are their hips? They're up near your lower back. Your hips are beneath them, right? So crab ride, my hips would be equal to or beneath yours, and I need to get them higher so I can get into my piggyback ride position.
And so you're sliding those feet out.
Yeah, sliding those feet out. Because now, the person defensively in the crab ride, you're trying to either remove your hips to the left, to the right, or up the center, getting higher towards my chest. Yeah.
Great explanation. And yeah, he did an awesome job of that. And like you said, I think there's a lot of MMA fighters who could learn from that because it was like super technical and just incredible, dominant. I don't have anything to add to this fight. I thought it was beautiful.
Max?
Nothing on the fight itself, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the pound-for-pound placement of Pantoja.
Pantoja? So
where's he at?
4. Put him at number 4. Where's he at right now? 8? 9?
Dude, that's ridiculous.
Oh.
He's got to be above Dreykus, dude.
So I would go, all right, listen, I don't know. I don't have all the information in front of me, but just going off of like, maybe it's recency bias, but going off of vibes.
Yeah.
I'm going Islam, Ilia, Merab, Pantoja.
Yeah, I think that's the right
That's going to be my top 4 right now. Just going off vibes. Now, Islam hasn't fought since January, but like I just have such an appreciation of his game. And then I'm going to go in order of and then I'm going just like champions.
Right. And the most dominant champs, you know what I mean? And like skilled.
And now we're looking at like champions, domination, title defenses. Merab coming off of, he won the title off of O'Malley, so he's got 2 defenses. You could argue Pantoja over Merab because Merab in those 2 defenses has a decision and a finish. Pantoja...
He finished Kaya Sakura
finished. He's got 2 finishes, and that's his 4th defense in a row.
I think it might have been his 5th. Was it 4?
Let's pull up his stuff.
I agree with you 100%. I think that's the right order. I think he's got to be above Dreykus. He's got to be above... Actually, let me ask you this, because DDP's got me thinking about this. Pound for pound. Okay, so DDP, what makes him good? Is it his skill set? Like, again, not hating on it.
4th defense, 5th title. So he won the title off of Brandon Moreno, and then he beat Royval, Ursig, Kaya Sakura, Kai Kara-France. I will say that I might give Merab the nod because I think O'Malley and Umar combined are more impressive than those 4. So his defenses, I think, were
better.
Because if you look at it, he took the title off of Brandon Moreno, but I don't know. I really value Umar, and Sean was he was a champ.
Oh, yeah.
So like, you know, even though it's a rematch, but it was like you got a defending champ.
Yeah, it's funny when I look at this. I kind of look at like
also like look past just what they did for titles too. Like like
that's what I was
Marab
gonna
beat
say.
Henry Cejudo. Marab beat Peter Yan.
Yes.
Is that correct? Corey Sandhagen? No, they never
Not
fought.
yet, no. He had
Dude,
an insane run
Jose,
there.
dude, he beat like 100 people.
Although that's who I was thinking.
He beat
of.
like 100 people.
Yeah.
Like if pull up Marab, pull Marab up, pull him up. I want to see Marab. Marab's record is probably crazy out
Dude,
here.
it's absurd. It's absurd. He lost.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, dude, this is crazy.
All right, I would say. Okay, so he beat Marlon Moraes, which was a huge win. But then let's talk about people who have held UFC titles, right? Jose Aldo, Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, and Sean O'Malley.
Wasn't Marlon a champ?
No.
He wasn't even an interim champ?
No, he fought.
He fought for the belt.
He
but
fought
was
Henry
never-
Cejudo for the belt and lost.
Huh.
Yeah. So if you look at that, champ, he fought 4 champs in a row, and then Umar,
And like dominantly.
and then a champ again.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Now, a lot of decisions there, but a lot of them were like handed decisions.
Yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with.
What are those little like next to the Morales and those little ribbons all the way over by the date? That little ribbon.
I don't know.
Performance of the night. Okay. 3 performances of the night inside that run, including his last 2.
Yeah, dude's impressive.
One a fight night and 2 performance of the nights.
One thing that I saw that was talked about a lot is Ilia's 3-fight win streak here. Is that the most impressive 3-fight win streak we've ever seen?
It's up there.
I can't think of anything that's better than it.
Pull up John Jones. Pull up John Jones. Shogun, Machida, like that run.
Were those back to back?
I bet they were.
Sounds right. But then also, how did? Oh, what must have happened is Machida lost to Shogun. Shogun lost to Jones. Machida went and got a win and then fought Jones. I could see that happening.
Hold on, we got an advertisement for CCAC. All right, let's go back to like that crazy run. Yeah, dude. Shogun,
Oh, yeah, 4
Rampage,
champs in a row
Machida,
there.
4. Beat the belt.
Yeah, there you go.
brother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 champs in a row.
And the fight before it is a Bellator champ.
Yep, Ryan Bader. And then the fight after is the greatest fighter of all time. Chael Sonnen. And then Alexander Gustafsson. Like, yeah, dude.
You know what's funny is watching, like looking
but
at this
even
now,
with that being said, yeah, I mean,
I can see the argument. Either way.
no. Okay, let's put them head to head. Okay, out of those 5 champs that we see there, we're talking Shogun, Rampage, Lyoto, Rashad, and Vitor. Okay, Are any of them, in your opinion, now account for the time?
Yeah.
Right. Like, don't forget this is 2011, 2012.
Right.
Versus modern day. Do you put any of them career-wise at the time of the fight over Volkanovski? Any of them?
I don't think I can.
Okay. All right. So let's just say Volk's number 1 then. Do you put any of them career-wise over Holloway? I say almost all of them.
I was gonna say, how many defenses did Holloway have? Did
He
have any?
had a few, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Because Holloway's
certainly a legend, but like, is he a Shogun? Is he a Rampage? Like, legend-wise, you know? Like, maybe. Machida.
I want to agree with you on this because those are guys
like
from,
a 17-2, a 17-2 Machida, right? A 19-4 Shogun. Like, what's Max Holloway? What was Max Holloway's record at the time of Ilia beating him?
I'm not gonna argue against.
Didn't
this
he already
time
he had
period.
3 losses to Volk alone? You know what I'm saying? I know he lost to Dustin Poirier twice,
Dude,
so I know
I'm
that was
with
5
you.
losses in
Pride
there.
never dies. I'm with
Did,
you.
did he not? Didn't he not start his? Now, granted, he was like 18 years old, but did he not start his UFC career like 3-3? Look, just go up. He's 22-8 in the UFC, right? So right there is already, you know, a worse UFC record than those guys. Like 8 losses. You know what I'm
How
saying?
many? What was Shogun's record at the time? Because I know Shogun
Something
went downhill.
something in 4 maybe. Yeah, 19
Oh yeah,
and 4.
19 and 4. Yeah, dude.
19 and 4, 17 and 2. Quentin Rampage Jackson 31 and what is that? 31 and 8 or 31-6? 31 and 8, and you know they stole a lot of them fights from him over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, dude. All
So
right.
I mean, I gotta put that Shogun and that Machida and that Rashad Evans, 17 and 1, former champ, over that Max Holloway, that Ilia beat.
Dude, I was about to argue against it, but man.
So now, yeah,
Pride never
Ilia has
dies,
the
dude.
best win, but then I would give John Jones the next 3. Mm-hmm. Then on top of it, John Jones has 5 instead of 3 in a row. Right? So here goes Ilia can take this over by beating Islam and then, you know, by beating Islam.
Dude, I was going to say, if he
beats Islam, that definitely jumps it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is all opinion and it's all like, but like,
Dude, I was so ready to fight back on that, but then I was like, dude,
and then
you know
and then
what?
are you putting Oliveira over Shogun? No.
No, you can't. Not
You
at the
can't-
time, no.
You can't, especially like recalling his fights, his earlier fights that count. Those count.
Oh, Oliveira's. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you were
those
talking about
fights.
Shogun's. I was like, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
fights.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, yeah, like I'd put Oliveira. I would give. So we're looking at 8 fighters, and I give Ilia the number 1, the number 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And then John Jones has the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm
That's an
giving
interesting
that,
way to look
I'm
at
giving
that.
that run, but it's hard. It's very hard to compare.
For sure. Yeah. No. That was a really interesting way to look at that. I like that. Yeah. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Max, thoughts?
Yeah, you're young. You can defend Holloway.
Yeah, I'm more willing to defend, not just defend Holloway. Like, say that Holloway's better than Shogun, right? Do you think that Volk and Olives are better than Rampage and Lyoto? Like, does that
Volk?
match up
At
better?
the time, like we're saying, like what
Yeah,
we're talking about.
I think a Volk win is more impressive than all 5 of those. I think like 1-1, right? Like
Right.
like a Volk win is more impressive than a Shogun win, 1-1.
Even inflation adjusted.
Even inflation adjusted. Yeah, I'm giving it. I'm like that's what I'm saying. Like I think Volk is the
Yeah.
best fighter.
Out
So
of all
basically,
these
it's
guys.
like rank these 8 fighters,
Yeah.
rank their career, these 8 fighters' careers. Now the thing is these 5 here, their careers are done.
Right. And they had some, like, you know, if you look at Shogun's like career as a whole relative to some other guys, it might look bad because.
But we're looking at it at the time of the fight.
That's my point.
Yeah, like
So
I mean,
if
because
the-
for example, like what if Holloway went on like an Owen, like Ferguson up, right?
Yeah.
What if I mean, what if
Anderson
Oliveira
Silva.
did? You know? Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. So we're looking at it at the time of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But if the debate is the best 3-fight stretch ever,
Yeah.
so you have to take 3.
So I have to take
a
2 off of
3-fight
this?
stretch. Yeah, you have to take a 3-fight stretch from Jones.
Okay.
So would your stretch be Shogun, Jackson, Machida?
This is hard.
That's because that's the debate.
Yeah,
is what
it would.
which
it
3-fight
would,
stretch
it would
matches
be.
up.
It would have. I would have to eliminate. I'd unfortunately have to eliminate Shogun just because I need Rashad in there because Rashad
was a more
Rashad
dominant.
was 17-1, former champ. You know what I mean?
And he was just coming off
The
starch
thing
and
is,
chuck.
I need Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
In there at 17-2, and I need Rashad in there at 17-1. So that forces me to bump Shogun out, even though I would have Shogun a better win than Rampage,
for sure.
But it forces me to bump Shogun out because he didn't come in that same row.
right.
So if you
Basically,
take
the choice that I have to make is between Rashad and Shogun.
Yeah.
It's either Shogun, Rampage, Machida,
Or Rampage.
or it's Rampage, Machida, Rashad. So the choice is between Rashad and Shogun, and at this, I'm going Rashad here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
so you're saying that Jackson, Machida, Rashad, that gives you at least 2 out of 3 better wins than Charles, Volk, and Max?
Yeah, so in that order, I would go. So if I had to rank those 6, I would go Volk, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So Ilia does have the best win. And then after that, I would go, like those present days, I would go probably Rashad Machida, Rampage, and then I would go Holloway, Oliveira.
I might put Holloway above Jackson because let me ask you this.
I mean, at this point in time, they both have 8 losses.
Right, but at this point,
Quentin Jackson beat Chuck Liddell multiple times at that point in time. He beat Forrest Griffin at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Wait, Forrest beat him.
Or I mean, who did he beat for the title?
It was Chuck, right? And then he lost to Forrest, I think.
Who did Quentin beat for the title?
I'm 90% sure he knocked out Chuck really badly for the title.
Was that for the title?
He never fought Chuck in Pride, right? Chuck only fought...
He fought Chuck in Pride.
He did?
He beat him in Pride. He beat him twice. Just click on Quentin Jackson, please.
Dude, isn't it wild how early UFC guys would like bounce back and forth between Pride? It's kind of cool.
Dude, wins over Chuck Liddell. That was the UFC title fight then, huh?
Okay, yeah. Oh, and he beat Hendo.
Yeah, defended against Hendo and then lost against Forrest Griffin.
Oh, man, dude, that win over Hendo really bumps up his stock at that time, too.
Now, scroll down even further because we got to see he had a loss to Shogun. But again, like Rampage, don't forget, Rampage was the one that he was my last on there. If I could take Rampage out, but I have to go chronologically, right? I would have gone Shogun.
Mm-hmm.
If the 3 fights, I would have gone Shogun, Machida, Rashad Evans, but that wasn't an option because it didn't run chronological like that. But there we got another win over Chuck Liddell, a corner stoppage in Pride.
Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate here because I am all for this era of guys, but I think the argument would be Holloway over Rampage because at this time, did anyone think Rampage is the best 205er to ever do it? Or top like 3?
Yeah, for sure.
At the time, who would
for sure? Been? I mean, your argument would be Chuck Liddell. It'd be Chuck Liddell and Rampage, and they just had a head-to-head, and one of them got knocked out. Not only did they just have a head-to-head, but they also fought 4 years earlier, and Chuck got finished in that as well. So he finished who you would argue would be, at that time, who you would argue would be the number 1. How could you say, like, you know what I'm saying?
I do. Dude, oh man, I hate arguing against this era. Because, Rampage is the man.
Well, whatever. I don't care, dude.
All right, keep it moving.
No, I don't care.
I can't argue this anyways.
I don't care to win this argument either. It was just something to think about. All right, let's move on. I think we have to go to the Brandon Royval fight.
Yeah. We got to keep this moving.
Because it ties in so much to this.
Which I thought was cool.
Guys, tell me about it.
So I think the stat you can look at here and know exactly what happened is if you look at the total strikes, you'll see exactly how wild of a fight it was. It was exactly what you imagine.
Wow.
I would say
no takedowns attempted.
No. The easiest way to describe this is Royval threw more, Van landed harder, right? Like that's kind of the easy way to break it down. Van, the issue with Van is he is very hittable, and I don't know how that's going to go against Pantoja. And also, like, I think Pantoja's grappling significantly better. But for this fight, dude, it was super fun. They just like stood in the pocket and like a little bit of slipping and pulling and whatever, but it was mostly just hucking nonstop. And being flyweights, they obviously have an insane pace. So, dude, it was a very, very fun fight. I thought it was pretty clear that Van won, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it.
Max, is Joshua Van. You're like, what is it called? You're like Golden Goose. Like, what is it? Like, help me, Will, with words.
Dude, you're blanking on me too. I know what you mean.
He put us up on Joshua Van, like, I think before his UFC debut. So is he like your like prize?
Like my claim to fame.
He's your pride and joy.
Yeah. I mean, I like him a lot. He just kind of low-key like beat up my favorite flyweight, so I don't love that. But
yeah, but you were like, you're the first one. Like, I didn't even know who he was, and you were like, this is the guy you got to watch out for. And here we are, bro. A year later, he's now gonna fight for the title.
And how many fights at that time?
6. Well, right?
6 or 7.
That's nuts.
We got to find that clip though from a year ago of it was on the pod where I was like, this guy on the prelims here, you should probably watch him.
Yeah,
you do 100% called that.
I think he was even an early prelim. But yeah, Joshua Van, less than a year ago, I believe, or maybe just a little bit over a year ago, lost to Charles Starfish.
Yeah.
And here he is, fighting for the title a year later.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Also, you made a really good point when we were just watching this. You were like, 3 weeks ago, he was unranked, right?
I think he was ranked. 3 weeks ago.
Or out
Like,
of the top 10, I think.
I think he was like in the.
he was.
like,
I mean, he was 12
number
going into
13 or
this
something.
fight.
Right.
So yeah,
He's had
but
9 UFC fights.
He's
by
had
the way.
9?
9. Yeah.
pull him up, bro. Let's see him.
We got no hard outs. Let's dive in.
What time is it?
I have no idea.
2:30? Oh, 3:30. I was gonna say we got tons of time. All right, so Joshua Van is 15-2. He's 8-1 in the UFC. He was 7-1 in Fury. So all his fights, his entire pro career is available on UFC Fight Pass. Then
Dude, that's wild.
that's crazy. You can go watch his entire pro career on UFC Fight Pass. They got a great library for him. So Charles Johnson finished him July 13th, right? Mm-hmm. So that means within the year he went 5-0 and earned a title shot since then, right? When was that fight? When was the next fight? September 14th?
Yep.
So September 14th to June 28th, right? That was he did 5 fights between September 14th and June 28th and went from definitely unranked. There's no way he was ranked coming off of that loss against Charles Johnson, right? So if we went back to like the archive rankings and we looked at the archive rankings going in the September 7th rankings, he would not be included. Mm-hmm. And now he's in a title fight.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
That is crazy fast.
So sick.
Look at all those canceled bouts before then. Scroll that down. Sheesh. 4 in a row? Ugh, that's rough. Getting that gray on your Tapology.
You know how the UFC will make like little documentaries about, like 30 for 30 type things?
Yeah.
They should do one about like the best like canceled fights or like the weirdest reasons why fights were canceled and stuff like that, because a lot of times those are interesting stories.
Bro, look at this. Max, can you make it bigger? Okay, so he made his UFC debut in November of 2023, okay? And then he fought in January of 2024, so that's, 6 weeks? Or it's 2 months, so it's 8 weeks. That's an 8-week difference between his first 2 UFC fights. Oh, wait, hold on. June of 2024 was his first. What the heck? He fought in the UFC and then they were going to give him a contenders bout after that?
I would guess that the contenders one. Yeah. I was just wondering about that myself. I would guess that he had the contenders fight scheduled and then they needed someone short notice or something and they canceled it. That would be my guess.
Click on that fight. See if they give sometimes they give a reason for cancellation. That one, yeah. I think if you hit the plus, that's taking you to the whole event. So go back. So hit the little plus next to it. Signed to UFC. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So the reason that fight was canceled is he did get signed to the UFC.
Yeah.
All right. So he made his UFC debut in June of 2023, and here we are in June of 2025. He's the number 1 contender, and he had a loss in that time, which
Sets you back.
Certainly sets you back. But his first 4 fights in the UFC took a year and a month, and then his next 5 took 10 months.
Dude, that's crazy. And got him to a title shot.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Man, that's pretty. He's pretty good, man.
Well,
so he had a loss before the UFC then.
yeah.
Where was his first loss? Oh, he started off. He went 2-0 and then lost. Oh, we looked up this Devin Jackson dude, right? He's like 4-3.
Yeah, really, he must be a killer.
Yeah, but he got choked.
Well, I think
with 2 seconds left in the second round.
That's a bummer. Ugh. I think what was really cool about this too, I was mentioning this earlier, is they had the fight. Like these 2 fights were very, very relevant to each other, and then you got the cool face off and everything.
Yeah.
And like, I swear the UFC used to do more of that, and it's cool too because they're on the same timetable. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're gonna have these guys fight again in whatever 6 months. Let's run it.
Yeah, you know what I thought would have been crazy though is because what happened in January with the Benil Dariush and Renato Moicano fight. No. In January. Yeah, Renato ended up getting the title fight because Sarukian had back issues, which Dana White has come out since and said he just wasn't going to make weight.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Dana said that in a clip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he say that? Like he officially said that?
He officially said that. I saw a clip, so unless it was AI, which I don't think it was. Yeah, he was like, he wasn't going to make weight.
That's interesting.
So, Renato Moicano got the title fight, and you saw the whole thing with Ilia weighing 155.5.
No.
You saw that, right, Max? So, yeah, he weighed in at 155.5, and then someone yelled, he has to be 155, and they were like, 155?
What?
Didn't Oliveira lose his title?
Yeah.
By like being
Yeah.
0.5 over?
Yeah.
He was. I think
exactly.
he was only like 0.1 over. It was
Yeah.
like ridiculous how little he was over.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, there were multiple fighters complaining about that scale. They were like, "That's not accurate."
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, and I was like, when I was seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to give it to Dariush then, since they gave the last one to Moicano? But it's the same too. It's the same too. So it'd be like
Yeah.
fair,
Right.
It'd be like,
Yeah,
all
You
right,
get it this time.
Beneil Dariush versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title.
Hilarious.
That'd have been crazy. Or what do you think they would have done? You think they would have did that, or do you think they just would have had the fight be a non-title fight?
I mean,
And
don't
kept
they,
the fight.
Don't they
Because the
usually-
reason they scrapped it was because,
Oh, right.
and they still have a title fight on the card, the flyweight title fight. But the reason they scrapped the last one is because Armin pulled out, not
Right.
just missed. Yeah,
That is interesting. I don't know. Yeah, they made.
They had Armin weigh in as the replacement, so
As
they just would
alternate.
have had him
oh,
do
he
it.
did,
Yeah, he
Did he make it?
He made weight.
and it's crazy. So he's not the next fight.
That's what Dana says.
Did they? Hate
So they
Armin?
had him weigh in
Yeah, he
as
was
the
official
backup fighter to not get to, and be like, no, you're still not getting the next one.
That's brutal.
That's crazy. All
I
right.
mean, if you think about it in a way, it's kind of a good deal though, because it's like you get paid. I think the number that they showed for Tom when he was the backup fighter, which obviously he doesn't need to make weight because he's under it, but like I think it was like 200,000. And it's like, dude, would you show up and there's like a 99% chance that you don't fight and just walk away with 200,000 to make weight? Like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, probably.
And have the opportunity to fight for a title, and it's like short notice. It's like so low stakes. It's like, yeah, I lost on like 24 hours notice, no big deal.
Are either of you giving Joshua Van a chance against Pantoja?
I'm not.
I think he has a shot. He definitely has a shot. I think he's one of the only guys that can like go pace for pace with Pantoja on the feet. But like the game plan is the same as it is always for him. It's like, can you just like that's why it's so impressive whenever he sprints at guys and gets their back because they all know what he's gonna do
Right.
and
Yeah,
he still does it. Like everybody knows that he's gonna run into their back
Yeah.
and he still gets there. So like I think he has things that he can do well, but.
I think Josh Vance got zero shot in this, if I'm being honest. I like the kid, but
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
All right, where do you want to go from here? Are we talking Money Moicano versus Beneil Dariush?
Yeah, let's just keep going in order. This fight was like decent.
Like what we expected, right? Competitive fight.
Yeah. And kind of exactly what everyone
Open
was
stance
saying.
fight.
Beneil's just like a slightly better fighter. But here's the thing: is like Dariush had those concussion issues. You never know, and he
He did get knocked down,
He did get knocked down in the first.
but then he started controlling that lead hand, and that kind of took care of everything.
Sure, and also Moicano
5 for
just looked
5.
like super exhausted after that first round.
Yeah.
And Beneil just kept putting it on. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exactly what we thought it would be. But it was interesting because, again, Beneil had those concussion issues, and he's been off for, what, like 1-2 years, something like that. So, yeah, no, it was a fun fight. Beneil earned his decision, though. Max, you got anything to weigh in on this, or on to the next?
No, I was just super disappointed. I thought Moicano looked real good in the first round, and the 1-2 was perfect. I was like, this is the tide turning, and then I thought that he kind of just took his foot off the gas, and like I didn't see anything super special from either guy, which is the worst part. It's like I didn't think either of these guys are going to be like a real title threat.
These guys are on their way out, dude.
Yeah.
They're on their way out. They're fighting in the veterans division. They should make right now. Beneil's the Masters world champion.
Yeah, dude, they should have.
Yeah, he's
UFC
Masters 2 world champ, bro. Yeah.
All right, this is an interesting fight. The main card opener, Peyton Talbott and Felipe Lima. And like, dude, think about it. This is what the UFC needs. It's like two up and coming guys fighting each other, like not early in their career, but like early enough. And I think that's important because it's not like the star power gets hurt if Lima loses. Like I want to watch that guy fight again. But anyways, the fight itself. Lima obviously was trying to like force into grappling exchanges. Talbot was walking forward, cutting the cage decently well. And dude, Talbot's takedown defense looked significantly better. Like clearly he knows what he's doing. He was like, this was the big hole in my last fight. I'm going to make some, changes. He hit a cool Granby in the first round. He had some I don't know, just interesting, takedown defenses, and did a decent job of standing up from the bottom. There were a few times that it looked like maybe he like accepted position on bottom when he maybe should have been fighting it, but I don't know. He ended up getting up. yeah, no, definitely, won the fight, and excited to watch both these guys fight again. But I think this was good for Talbot because it shows like everyone's like, oh, he's fraud checked, and it's like the kid who was whatever 9-0 or whatever lost to a veteran of the sport, like that happens,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a good look for him to get a win back, and again, Lima I thought looked good as well. I'm interested to see him fight.
Cool. Max, got anything to say about it, or are you chilling?
I was excited for it just because Peyton's a young bantamweight. Same reason I'm guessing Lucas is watching that. I know he's a guy that we both look at a lot to see what's going on with them. I was excited for him to see his takedown defense looked good, and it wasn't just like it didn't look like someone got takedown defense, but like their game disappeared with it. You see guys like that where it's like they can defend the takedown, but then they
stop
can't
pressuring.
They can't strike.
Right.
It's all about just defending the takedown. Like come the second, third round, he was defending it, but he was also like working good shots off of it. He was doing good with ground and pound and actually establishing top control. So I was happy to see that from him. He's fun.
I would say the one thing that we need to kind of see with Talbot for him to compete at the higher levels is probably a little bit more volume with his striking and just like pumping a jab a little bit, because he is a little reliant on like waiting for big shots, and he was rolling with some of them, but he is relatively hittable. So like that. But it also changes when someone's willing to exchange with you. Lima was doing a really good job of like staying on the outside. So I don't know. He's an exciting guy to watch. But
the thing he has that I really like that's like an intangible that you can't. It's hard to teach people this, but he has his vision. He's always, it's like what Max Holloway has. Well, he's always looking at the guy. Like a lot of people, like a shot comes and they kind of flinch away or they'll close their eyes and come over with a counter. He's always looking at the guy. Even when he gets hit in the face, even when he's getting like a hit on the chin, his eyes are always on the other guy.
Yeah.
So he's got real good vision there. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I agree. He's an interesting one to watch. So let's get into the prelims. All right, Jack Hermansson, Gregory Rodriguez.
So you were telling me about this.
Yeah, dude, this was disgusting. So it went kind of how we imagined it would. RoboCop just being RoboCop, walking forward, hucking bombs. He eventually connects with one, and Hermansson's like done, like out staring at the ceiling in another realm. And Rodriguez like walks up to him real slowly, and then like almost like Khalil Roundtree style or Mike Wilkins style, hand up over the head, and just bombs a hammer fist directly under the chin of a already dead Jack Hermansson. And it's like, again, we're all involved in like a very, very violent sport, so we're like, oh, I'm kind of used to seeing stuff like that. But dude, when you see it, you're like, bro, come on, man. Yeah, look, you'll see it. He walks up, takes his time, walks around him.
Oh my God, yeah, you didn't need to throw that punch.
Yeah, so like, here's the thing. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, dude, all of them. It's like, man, I wish that RoboCop wouldn't have. Although right there, watching that, I think Herb Dean was like, oh, he's not going to do it. I think right there, you see him stretch a sprint, and then he starts to stop. And I think he was like, he's not going to do it. You know what I mean?
And then he did it.
I think if he did think he was going to do it, he would have run through him. So at the end of the day, it's Herb Dean's job, and he should have run through him and, yanked him off. But it would have been cool to see RoboCop not do that as well. So, like, I don't know, man. My personal opinion is like that just makes me like, I don't want to say like respect him a little less, but just like I don't know. It just makes it however you feel watching that. That's what I'm like. Wish he wouldn't have done it. But
you know what I wish would have happened since he did do it? I wish it would have woke Hermansson up. Hermansson just inverts right to a leg lock and just
rips
bangs it off.
Hermansson he's got like leg locks. He'll hook Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah,
he
that's
could
what I'm
do
saying,
that.
Boom.
Yeah. With that said, the UFC did do a good job of like updating throughout the card. They're like, oh, Jack Hermansson is alive. So like, that was cool. But yeah, man, I would like to see Hermansson either A, retire, or B, take a long time off before
I know
fight.
the next time he fights, I'm betting on him.
Why's that?
Max knows. You should too.
Okay.
He's won and lost, alternating consecutively for like his last like 14 fights.
Oh, really?
Which span like 7 years.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see a long layoff from him, if not totally out. This fight, I might have missed this one to grab a snack.
Dude, Terrence McKinney with a first round sub.
Dude, that one was hilarious because I had just finished, like, I forget what I was doing. I was like mowing the lawn or something. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go shower real quick.
4 strikes in the entire
and
fight.
I saw them like about to walk, and I was like, oh, I think I can get down in time. And I was like, what am I talking about? Like, this is going to be over the second it starts. And I walked in right as they were like showing who won. I was like, damn it, I missed it. But dude, he had like a pretty nice shot entry. Like, he got
Who?
McKinney.
But he won by guillotine.
Yeah.
I thought the other guy shot her.
No. Yeah, dude, it was like shocking. I was like, again, I'm walking in my living room and watching. I'm like, dude, no way. He just like blasted a double leg and they started scrambling. He had like a nice, I don't even remember what it was. But yeah, it was like nice grappling actually. He looked good. Did this fight.
Nico Price, Jacoby Smith.
Yeah.
Jacoby Smith was the biggest favorite in UFC history.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It really was crazy too because like
over Nico Price, he's like vetted up.
Yeah, like Nico Price isn't like trash. You know what I mean? Like I could understand.
Right? How good do they think Jacoby Smith is? Like, out of all of Nico Price's fights, he's never been a bigger underdog. Like, give me Nico Price's record. We got to see who he's fought. And you're telling me that we never thought like anybody that he's fought was better than Jacoby Smith? Like, who are some of his?
Robbie Lawler.
What? Oh my God, he fought Robbie Lawler. Yeah, you're gonna tell me that Robbie Lawler wasn't a bigger favorite than like, you know what I mean? Like that's post-title Robbie Lawler, right? That was Robbie Lawler's retirement fight, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and Jacoby Smith, I think he's gonna be great, but like he's brand new.
Well, also he looked pretty tired in the second round. I'll tell you what. The no contest with Cowboy. Yeah, that's interesting. He lost to Michelle Pereira. Oh, that's Nico, dude. For a second I thought we were looking at Jacoby Smith because we just started talking about him. I was like, yo, how did he lose to Michelle Pereira? Dude, actually, I remember Michelle Pereira against Nico Price, and he did his little backflip pass. It just stomped right on his head, and Nico was like, oh, and they just let the fight keep going.
That's a kick to the head of a downed opponent.
Yeah, but, you know, they're like, oh, Michelle Pereira, you look cool. We'll just let you do whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Dude, that's the thing. That's why MMA is not a real sport, man. They just let them foul. They're like, oh, that looked cool. Oh, poke in the eye? Whatever. You know, they just don't care.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, we're done.
All right, how do we do on our picks? Not good?
Some of us did better than others.
Do you want to hear about the betting real quick?
No, after the picks.
Okay.
Oh, go, Max. Shut.
Oh, well, someone didn't
Will,
do well.
you had Van?
I did.
You went undefeated. Will went 5-0. I went 4-1. Max went 2-3.
Man, if only my bets were as good as my picks.
Dang, dude.
I bet against Van as well.
That's crazy.
Because
scroll down a little, Max. I want to see the Khalil Roundtree card. So you're on a 6-fight win streak, Will.
Yeah.
Starting with Roundtree.
Yeah.
Have we greened full green? Has anybody full greened until then? Nope. Reds.
This might have been the first one.
That kind of doesn't count. We only picked
Yeah.
two. Wait, scroll up. No, yeah, we picked a ton of fights. So because it was separated there.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a separate one as well.
Oh, I full greened.
Oh, you did.
The
Ian
Prates
Gary
Machado
Prates
fight.
card.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, go down. Nope. Will has a second full green.
Yeah, but that was only 3 fights on one card.
Count it. Nope.
Interesting.
That's it. Damn. Current standings, Max 46, 43-1. Still a winning season for Max. Mike 51, 38-1. Will 54, 35-1.
Let's go.
Doing good. All right, let's talk betting, gambling.
All right, so I looked at, I'd kind of forgotten about it, and I opened up my account, and I was like, all right, I have like 6 point however many units or whatever. So I'm like, let's
So you put them all on this parlay, and now you have 40 grand.
No, I put them on ridiculous parlays, like for example, I bet against Van in multiple parlays because Royval was plus money, and like I would have like accepted if it was like coin flip, but at plus money, Royval being like a vet.
How about Max picking Kaikar of France over Pantoja?
I was just trying to mix it up a little bit.
Okay,
fair. I probably wouldn't have done that if I knew that Dariush and Van were going to win, because now my record just looks terrible. But
yeah.
Hey, man, it is what it is. You got to live with it. But anyways, yeah, I started making some ridiculous
You're 8
parlays.
fights behind Will.
I had a bunch that were like the spreads. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
plus 3.5 points. I think Jack Hermanson lost that for me because I was like, oh, like he might like make it out of the fight at least. You know, he did not.
Yeah.
I had one that a couple of the legs were like hitting. Like I had the Tracy Cortez fight over 2.5 rounds. Like that was pretty easy, and like it was going for a while. But anyways, long story short, Vegas exists for a reason. The odds were not in my favor, and I think I ended the entire contest with 2.4 units or something like that. So,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, no, not so good for your boy.
Not so good, but so good here. So who, Max, do you have all the results in? Because it is officially over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give it like a couple days for anyone, maybe like Paul Lance, who hasn't given like exact
phone?
numbers to
Paul
send
Lance
things
sent
in.
it to Will.
Oh, he sent it to you?
He just said like where he was.
I have.
Well, that would be the end of it. It's the end, if that's where he is.
Before that.
It was before the fights? Oh.
So I'm going to give it like a
All
day.
right, so we'll
just to
update on
process,
it. We'll
but
update on it on next week's episode then.
As it stands, I'm pretty sure, unless Paul Lance has some crazy numbers, I'm pretty sure Lucas Jones overtook me.
No.
Yeah, I think he did.
Dang.
And if that's the case, he's been very active in my phone about wanting a belt or a crown or something like that. So we need to figure something out.
Hand him some
I don't
marbles,
know,
son.
Lucas. Here. Actually,
No, he can't have the marbles, bro. Those are legendary.
all the marbles.
He better
right
play
here.
us. He better get on some cart if he wants those marbles. I'll tell you what. Yeah,
All right, yeah.
I don't know what Polance is at.
Anything else that you guys want to talk about?
With this card, basically just that like the UFC finally did it right, and I was like, oh, sick. They're gonna like keep doing like good pay-per-views, right? Because like pay-per-view might even be on the way out. So then I took a sneak peek at UFC 318. Have you seen this card at all?
Slaps.
Terrible, bro. Terrible.
Sucks.
There's a fight night in 2 weeks that's better than 318. Like
Oh, for real?
legitimately, bro. It's
So what's
crazy?
The next fight night, which is in 2 weeks, we have a weekend off, is Lewis.
So we get the Black Beast. That's awesome, right? Then we get Bonfim, who's like a rising star
Versus
against
Wonder
Wonder
Boy.
who's on his way out, but he's incredible, right?
Dude, Calvin Cater. Hopefully he can get back on the horse, but he's always fun.
Then we got our boy Nate the Train
Landwehr.
Dude, you know that fight's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's so sick.
All right, so now we got some heavyweights. I'll accept that. That's not great, right? We have a Toffer brother. I'll accept that. Not great.
6-3,
Then Max
man.
Griffin, Chris Curtis at welterweight.
Speaking of Chris Curtis,
Yes,
my brothers, did you guys see
I
what
sure
went down
did.
at Tough Enough?
I sure did.
I'm under the impression that was an amateur fight, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think I've read something, but whatever. So they're coaching their fighter, and he ends up losing to a standing guillotine. And like, you know, they're probably like, he's tired. That's what he said. I listened to a small interview with him and Ariel Helwani. He's like, yeah, they're like, he's tired. And he said they called me fat or whatever. And I'm like, okay. But like getting called tired in a fight, like that's not derogatory towards you. That's trying to encourage their fighter.
Right, yeah.
Right? That's not like a shit talk to you. Like if you're fighting me and your coach is like, he's tired, like I'm not taking that personally. I understand they're trying to get their fighter to push.
Right.
Like, you know, like I'm not going to take that personally. If you call me fat, probably take that personally. Maybe he said some other things, so he stuck his tongue out at them while he guillotined the guy.
And then he went full 90s pro wrestling.
Then he went jerk off motion, 2 suck it signs, and then Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis came in the cage. Sean Strickland hit him with a right hand. Chris Curtis like held the back of his head and like wound up, and like but didn't throw
He
it.
went the single collar tie bubbles.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Normally, I'm like, yo, fuck Sean Strickland. Like, that dude's a dick. But in that situation, I'm like,
I kind of get it.
yeah, I kind of get it too.
I don't ever want to be in that position.
If I was in the corner, I might yell at the kid. I don't know if I'd run in and start attacking him, but like, I get it, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was wild. But anyways, back to this card, dude. Then look at the fight below that.
Whoa, Jake Matthews versus Chidi Ninja Kwana.
Yeah, dude, and that is prelims, bro.
Dang.
Of a fight night. We have Johnny Walker's brother about to hit another heel hook at heavyweight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, dude, like, this is a fun card, right? Now, Max, go to 318. Go to the next pay-per-view. So, you just got all fired up for this, right? In 2 weeks? You're like, this is interesting.
Holloway Poirier 3.
Okay, that's great. That's great, right? Let's keep it moving.
Who are they?
There you go, dude. There you go.
Shut up, bro. Shut up. That's the co-main.
Right?
This card's just not finished, right?
I don't know, but dude, keep going down. We have old Michael
Kopylov
Johnson
versus Costa.
Yeah.
What? There's no way. Scroll up. That's the co-main. I want to talk about this co-main event. Robert Valentin versus that other guy. Is this Robert Valentine guy? Is he not the guy who just lost to the short wrestler guy?
Yeah, he's 0-2 in the UFC.
So he's 0-2 in the UFC, and he's the co-main. That can't. Is this an accident? That can't be the co-main event of a pay-per-view.
I think that Pitbull and Ige are actually supposed to be the co-main. I think I saw that on like another post. But like either way, dude,
they're on the pay-per-view. Who's the other guy?
That fight on the pay-per-view, period. He's that super jacked.
They're sacrificing Valentin to Gautier. He's like the 6'4".
7-1.
He's his second fight in the UFC.
He looks like a monster. He's super jacked. If we showed you a picture, you'd be like, "Oh, I remember seeing that guy." But like, does that belong on a pay-per-view main card when the fight night before it had all those bangers on it?
No, and ahead of I mean, I get it. Michael Johnson's 24-19, but he's still Michael Johnson.
Yeah, Michael Johnson
and then
had a really good period.
Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull.
I do believe that is going to be the co-main, but either way, like,
I mean, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov should be the co-main.
Dude, Max and I were talking about this before you got here. Roman Kopylov against Paulo Costa is an excellent co-main for a fight night. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but like. Yeah, man, and then you look where
Vittori versus Brendan Allen. What?
Like that's a more entertaining fight to me.
That should be main card,
right? Like,
well, Kyler Phillips is back.
Who's Kyler Phillips?
I think he's an Arizona kid.
Yeah, he's at the lab.
Yeah.
Does he braid his hair when he fights?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Oh, we got Jimmy Crute back. But like, dude,
What?
Oh my God! I didn't even see
Neil
that.
Magny, the opener on the early prelims. There's no way this card's in the correct order.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is all making that actually makes it all make sense.
Right.
Disregard.
But regardless,
disregard this. There's no way it's going down like that.
But regardless, just look at the total fights in general. Does one of those scream pay-per-view to you? Obviously, the main event makes it a little bit. I get it, but like. Dude, they need you for their marketing, bro. Like, this is just not like quality product, you know?
Yeah, I don't
Especially
know,
the way they're doing it, where they're like, hey, 1 week it's free, and then the next week it's not free. Is it any better? No, but like, yeah.
So the UFC website has the Magny fight as the last early prelim. So it's not the curtain jerker; it's the last early prelim
on the UFC website. Though.
On the UFC website, but they still have Gautier and Valentin as the co-main.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, dude, what are they doing? I
don't know what to say.
Whoever's making the card order is also doing the rankings because it's not adding up.
All right. Okay. Cool. Is that it, UFC wise?
We could talk their jiu-jitsu at all if we wanted to.
Yeah, UFC BJJ. They had their inaugural event this Wednesday, headlined by Mikey Musumeci versus Harrison something or other, Gabriel. Mikey just a whole level ahead. So one of the things that I thought when this, first off, they did like an Ultimate Fighter style season. For those of you who are not aware, I'm sure most of you are aware. There was some really great guys on it. Andrew Tackett, Andy Varela, Jason Nolf, Elijah Carlton, Nathan Haddad, Aaron Wilson, Gianni Grippo, Kyvan Gonzalez, Keith Krikorian, Josh Cisneros, like some important jiu-jitsu people on it. And I would say that every name that I just named is more widely known than the coach.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything when he was first announced as a coach because I was kind of like embarrassed.
Right. You're like, is there someone big that I didn't know about?
I was like, dude, I can't like go out there being like, oh, who is this guy? And then everybody like, you don't know who.
Right.
Who this guy is?
TikTok would never let us live it down.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh. So I just kind of like kept it quiet. And then like everybody else was like, who is this guy? And I was like, okay. So it's not just me. All right. And I was like, yeah, I don't know who it is. But they aired the entire season in like 10 days or whatever. They just aired a new episode every day, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's like, are they building anticipation the right way? I don't know.
And it really flew under the radar, right? Like, I knew episode 1 was out.
Did you watch it all?
Yeah, I watched.
Was it entertaining?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm thankful for it, for jiu-jitsu.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I watched like the first episode, and then like 4 days later, I was like, "What? Episode 5?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." So I don't know how I feel about it. Whatever.
They did show off the champs with their belts.
Yeah. So I see a lot of people posting like, "Oh, Mikey Musumeci, the first ever UFC BJJ champ," which factually incorrect, but you do you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't understand how the like what the structure was, because they showed 2 guys with those the UFC championship belts.
Yeah, they won it first. So the first ever champ is Carlos Henrique,
and then Tackett,
and then Tackett would be second,
so
and then Mike would be third.
So they did 2 weight class. Oh, hold on, break this down for me. So
they did 155 and 170.
Okay, so that's how we
lightweight
did the
and
2
welterweight.
champs, and then Mikey is what, 45 or something like that.
35.
And so those were just all for belts then. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so the seasons in the house, they narrowed it down to the finals of 155 and 170.
Got you. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are they doing all the same weight classes?
I don't know what they're doing for season 2. I heard, nothing confirmed, that the talks for the coaches are Gordon and Nicky Rod, which would be
That would be sick.
super sick. But we'll see. The weight classes, I would assume, would be different weight classes then. I would assume they would go probably like middleweight and light heavyweight. The reason I would assume those 2 weights is I don't think they would go heavyweight and do like the coach's weight class.
Right. Yeah.
I also don't think that the coaches will do a match afterwards. Which I don't think you have to.
So I'd heard, and maybe it was just something that Musumeci said, but I'd heard that they're drug testing.
Yes.
Okay.
So they can cycle off.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mikey's like, "Oh, there's sports full of cheaters." Like, name the cheaters. Name someone who's cheating.
Yeah,
Who is cheating?
And also, I
mean, who's cheating? Like,
especially in jiu-jitsu, dude. Like,
but who's cheating? Like, name one person who's cheating. I can't think. Like what? Like, what was his name? He used to fight in the UFC. Held on the taps all the time.
Oh, Paul Harris.
Yeah, like, okay, maybe him, because like he's not letting go, even when the refs like touch him. That's cheating. Like dudes like throwing like punches and stuff, like clubs and like and throwing kicks as foot sweeps. Okay, you're skirting on cheating there.
Right.
But like, in order for something to be cheating, it has to be against the rules.
Right. I was about to say that.
Right. You know what I mean? I'd be like, man, Tyreek Hill's cheating in football. He's faster than everybody else. He's just too fast. It's like, well, it's not against the rules to be too fast. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, like, imagine the first dude who was like drinking protein powder.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What about the first guys who started like, oh, let's start cross training and conditioning, right? Like, oh, you're cheating. You're doing something extra that is well within the rule set. Dude, that no one else is doing, that not everybody else is doing.
The other thing is like, okay, let's say that we could just magically make steroids retroactively illegal in jiu-jitsu for the past like 10 years, right? It's kind of now like the Tour de France thing, right? Where it's like, oh my God, what's his name?
Lance Armstrong. It would have been like, if you look it up, it would have been like, whoever took 26th was the first dude to have the clean test.
Exactly. And also, like, who knows if he was actually clean. Also, fun fact, I'm remembering this from one of my college professors, so this is many years ago, so I could be off on this, but I believe he said that the Tour de France was invented initially to see like what drugs and training systems work best. Now granted, at the time it was probably like, oh yeah, if you drink like a quart of vodka or something, but like that's like kind of why it was invented. But yeah, dude, it's just absurd, man. Like, also, dude, no one wants to see Gordon without steroids.
I mean, I think he's technically proficient. I mean,
I know, but wouldn't you rather see that with a gorilla body as well?
Yeah, probably, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, I certainly do.
But whatever. I'm not really like, I just like don't see any matches. First off, did you watch Mikey's match?
I didn't.
I'm not really interested in his matches. So what he does, he comes out. He did the same thing in his. He had a fight, a match on UFC Fight Pass. He comes out. He hops on one leg, like the Karate Kid, right?
Yeah.
Because he wants you to take him down because like you can't pull guard, right? So he comes out, hops on one leg, gets taken down, and then just completely leg lock reliant. He came up for one passing scenario and just dropped back to a leg lock, which, like, you know, that's cool, but I think that, like, if you're that much better than somebody else, like, show, like, the whole game. Like, it's one thing I liked about Gordon is he would, like, have an instructional ready to drop, and then he would go sub you with it so he can promote his instructional.
Yeah.
Right? He'd be like, oh, I got my guard passing instructional, so I'm going to pass your guard 18 times and rear naked choke you, and be like, here goes my guard passing instructional.
Also, in terms of, like, where jiu-jitsu is as a sport right now, it's like it's on the precipice of, like, starting to, like, really explode, right? The UFC is showing interest in investing in it, you know? So it's like, okay, if you have, you know, Mikey come out and just, like, pull guard essentially.
Bro,
legally.
and it's, yeah, like, you're nailing it. It's the UFC, too. Like, if you're trying to catch that crossover audience, you want Tackett, Andrew Tackett.
Rotolo, Tackett.
If you could have get a Rotolo,
Right.
like, think about the CGI match between Rotolo and Tackett. Greatest match in jiu-jitsu, right? So entertaining. Imagine, what is that? That's the Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner.
Yes.
Like, you could have had, if you could have had that there, that could have made a big difference.
Yeah,
you know
as
what I mean?
opposed to Musumeci just, like, fishing for leg locks.
Yeah,
you know?
just like look. Yeah, just like I don't think it's like, to people who love it, like, that's probably great. I mean, like, I love jiu-jitsu, but I didn't find it that great, and a lot of people who I'm talking to didn't find it awesome either. But
and also the fact that,
I mean, we can appreciate his technical.
Yeah, definitely. But also
his
the fact
extreme
that
skill
they
level.
had that against someone who wasn't a big name, yeah, they should have definitely. Yeah, man, that was, I think the UFC missed there. I do think overall is probably a win. I mean, I don't know how they did numbers wise and everything, but it's probably a win for them. With that said, what are your thoughts on the UFC trying to sign guys for jiu-jitsu, which obviously is cool, despite the fact, however, which is not cool, that they're trying to get them to sign exclusive contracts? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's fine. I mean, all their fighters are on exclusive contracts. Are we trying to legitimize jiu-jitsu? Or, like, I thought that's what we were trying to do here.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot to be said for...
So what you want is, you want the UFC to provide a charity to jiu-jitsu.
That would be sick.
That would not be sick. That's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get away from being... The idea is to be a self-sustaining, money-generating sport.
Let me ask you about this then. What about, like... So CJI, right?
Not relying on donors, right? Becoming a charity case, right?
That's what I was going to ask you is, does CJI, like, are they supposed to be profitable at this point?
Yeah, but, I mean, like, CJI, and Craig said, it's a one event a year. It's a one event Super Bowl style event a year, right? So it's like, that's not even, like, what we're exactly looking for, right? Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, yeah, these athletes can make real money one time a year.
Right.
One time a year, you know? So...
Yeah, you need something. Yeah, man, it is... I don't know.
And what, like, exclusive contracts? Like, I mean, that's... If that's what they think they need to do for their business model, I mean, they're the ones who have success. You know what I mean? They took a sport, MMA, and, like, basically own it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With their model, and, like, if they can do something similar to that with jiu-jitsu, that could be helpful. Right now, I saw that they already have, like, their next, like, 4 cards planned out.
Jiu-jitsu cards?
Yeah, and it, like, goes to, like, and they're, like, in the next 4 months or something, something along those lines. So that's cool. So we know there's going to be, like, opportunity and stuff like that. And how exclusive are their contracts, really? And, like, who's on them? You know what I mean? Because there are people on the show who competed this weekend in Aiga, right? Johnny Grippo and Jason Nolf both competed at Aiga just this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, they must not be exclusive. Is only the champs exclusive?
That is interesting.
Maybe only the people who made it to compete on that card.
Right.
But everybody else is non-exclusive, because if that's the case, like, who cares, dude?
Also, if it's for a short enough time period, I think that's fine. I think that's, like, the big issue that we have with one is that they'll sign guys under contracts and then just, like, fight them, like, once every 2 years, you know, and then just, like, basically ruin guys' careers. So, yeah, maybe if they sign them to, like, 1-year deals with X amount of fights. I don't know, but
I mean, imagine they do, like, a fight, like, imagine it's similar to MMA contract and it's like a 4-fight deal. Dude, in jiu-jitsu, you can knock that out in 4 months.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not like in MMA, like, I gotta go through this whole fight camp and stuff for this one match. Like, bro, like, you got a 4-fight deal, you got a 4-match deal, right? Like, if they're willing to put you on each of the next 4 cards, you get that done in the next 4 cards.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It's, on the one hand, it's like, just generally speaking, monopolies are bad. So it's like, you kind of got to be careful of that. But at the same time, it's like, but could we also maybe rely on the UFC monopoly to elevate the sport? I don't know. It's a.
I mean, like, if that's what it takes. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs, but I know they're not going to do it any other way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, like that's the only way they're going to do it, you
Yeah.
know, like, so if you want their marketing and their platform and like, you know what I
Promotional.
mean? And the promotional and the ability to have what they already have right now, do these athletes likely have access to the UFC PI?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They like,
I didn't even
there's a
think about
whole
that.
like universe around this that, you know, there's some benefits. So now they've got access to those trainers, access to all the, I mean, we've been there at the PI. It's insane, right? Access to all of that. And like, would you give someone access to it if they were not in your organization?
Right, exactly.
Right? Be like, oh yeah, here, use all this stuff to go
Right.
compete for rival promotions. And I mean, ultimately that's what they are.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you see a world where Craig Jones allows CJI to be absorbed by the UFC? Or is that just antithetical to what he...
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot of speculation at this point. I can see him also just like making a video where he's like, guys, I've been saying for the longest that I'm here for the athletes, but I've decided I'm going to sell out. Like,
Well, I mean, maybe being absorbed is here for the athletes. Like, who knows?
yeah, exactly. If it's the right deal, who knows?
All right, well, that's enough of that. I guess the last bit of news that I would want to talk about is Ben Askren. So
Yeah.
Ben Askren fell ill. I don't exactly know, but the rumors are it was like a staph infection that became septic, got to his lungs. His lungs became necrotic. So he needed a double lung. He's been like on a ventilator in an induced coma, needed double lung transplant. And he received it and is done with his lung transplant. I know that presents a whole nother set of battles, but he's like
Step in
the
the right
transplant
direction.
is complete.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so
Yeah, dude. Wishing the best for Ben.
for sure. All right, that's it for this week's episode, guys. Make sure you hit our socials: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Get on YouTube, like and subscribe. Listen to us on Spotify. Also, check out our merch store. We have it pinned on our Instagram. It's on our website, listentoyourcoaches.com. We will be closing some of the items soon as we are nearly running out, and look for version 2.0 coming out around Labor Day. So get your hat while it lasts. I don't know how many we have left. A handful of shirts, crew necks, sweatpants, things of that nature. But we're going to stop stocking. So once they're out, and then we're going to get our version 2.0, ideally around Labor Day. All right, guys, catch you later.